Best of R / Tales from Tech Support episode 123. Subscribe for Reddit videos daily. For context, I'm not a support tech but work in robotics at my company, where we roll out digital robots to automate company operations ranging from care to finance to back office operations. I usually arrive late at work, 11:30, but at 10:30 my phone went off and my boss needs me in the office ASAP, so I go. I arrive and go to the room where my teammates are already present losing their shit dealing with tens of departments, credit ops, back office ops, finance, delivery, accounts, etc. Some 70-80 of our 250 plus bots are down and so hundreds of transactions are stacking up by the minute which people have to fulfill manually, although we don't have the capacity because the company has been firing PPL ever since we came in and started automating everything. No one can figure out what's going on. We try to remote in and the VMs are up and running. Director is already on alert. We're trying to troubleshoot. Automation scripts are still there. Nothing wrong with run/build time scripts. All four of us, useful teammates and robot controller, someone promoted from support and handed to us and my manager, knows nothing about our automation, are trying to troubleshoot. Soon the VP is on alert from all the pissed process owners, and their bosses. For hours we're trying to reboot machines, reconfigure and reinstall scripts, but nothing. We alert IT but they're no help and are confused and clueless too. I was getting my 10th cup of coffee, furious and confused, decided to call the data center, owned by the company, outside the city, described what was happening, asked them to physically locate the VMs assigned to us, and reboot those mainframes as the last resort I could think of. None of us are networking/hardware guys. A data center tech goes to the physical server and notices the internet wire disconnected from the back. They check the surveillance cams and turns out a cleaner was cleaning the floor and mopped aggressively in the back causing the wire to disconnect. But since the computers were all on site, they still appeared on the LAN. Man face palming. Thank you. Next. Disclaimer. This tale does not contain any IT elements, but is definitely a support tale, so please give me the benefit of doubt, because it mentions that mythical place called outside. As I have explained in my previous posts, I am part of a big company that builds and maintains lots of $big expensive parts. Think of these $big expensive parts as being best described as big metal boxes. Think shipping containers, filled with electronics at many various locations spread around the country. The electronics feed back signals to a blinking lights control panel in an office in a place that you have probably never heard of. If a blinking light goes out a technician is dispatched, level 1 support. Then if the technician utters swear words due to an unusual situation a $sign troubleshooter like myself is called. Think level 2 support. Situation we have a $big expensive part that is located at the far end of a dirt track, and alongside the length of the track was a big brick wall. And when I say big I mean that it was nearly a mile long and the ground level on the opposite side was 6 meters or 20 foot higher than the dirt track. Also the opposite side of the wall formed the rear of gardens of a lot of very expensive houses. A few months ago one of the technicians was on site performing routine maintenance work to the $big expensive part and noticed that the top of the wall was leaning over a bit, and so mentioned it in his maintenance report. When the report got to me, I decided to do a little bit of digging through the records, as we are required to have a SLA for the $big expensive parts, and many tons of wall collapsing on top of one would seriously impact uptime. If this was a movie this bit is where there would be a fast forward montage to skip through all of the boring meetings. The outcome of the meeting was, legal had confirmed that the land $big expensive part, the trackway land and the retaining wall were owned by us and so were ours to maintain. The wall was so old that it was built before the building codes for this size of structure were written. I suspect that the signature on the original contract might have been a dinosaur's footprint. It was that old. Access to the face of the wall up against the gardens had not been seen for more than 20 years. There had been many attempts to gain access to the gardens over the years, by various staff members ringing doorbells and posting letters, always mostly unsuccessfully. I was mulling over what to do about the risk to the $big expensive part when an office-based colleague walked past and showed me the latest issue of the internal company newsletter/mini magazine. which is usually so boring that I struggle to get to the end without falling asleep. But this issue had an article that the passing colleague was grumbling at. The colleague was grumbling that the execs had bought a helicopter instead of giving bigger annual bonuses to the staff. Upon hearing the word helicopter, I cracked an evil grin so wide that the edges of my mouth nearly joined round the back of my neck, and came up with a cunning plan. So I filled in the forms to requisition the helicopter, with the explanation that looking at the wall was safety critical, and the letters were not working. Climbing over the fences and walls could mistake us for burglars. A drone could not be used as it could not be retrieved if it crashed, so using a low-flying helicopter is the only option. Again, if this were a move, this part is where you can all nip out and get a drink, because there were lots of boring justification, health and safety, costing and other meetings that were so boring that I must have blanked out due to trauma. Anyway, the outcome was that I had been granted 2 days use of the company helicopter to examine this wall. I initially had surprised face that they granted me it, immediately followed by an oh no moment, about how was I going to do this, as this wall and $big expensive part were a day's drive from me. Luckily I knew that 2 technicians lived within half an hour's drive from the closest airport. So I set up a conference call with the 2 technicians, myself, my boss and a few hangers-on. The call went something a bit like this. Okay gents, I have whittled down the contestants and you 2 are the finalists to win a special assignment, which is to perv and take photos in the gardens of expensive houses possibly owned by celebrities, using the company helicopter. To win your place on this assignment you just have to tell me the quickest, pausing for dramatic effect, as many lyrics as you can to the song Wrecking Ball by Miley Cyrus. I am sure that the other people on the call thought that I had gone mad. But I had a secret plan. Anyway, technician A actually started singing, which caused me to laugh, so he won. From those earlier mentioned boring meetings, I discovered that the law where this took place says, the minimum cruising height of a helicopter is 500 feet over rural areas and 1,000 feet over urban areas. So there was concern about the quality of the photos that could be obtained. I had a sneaky idea to make the helicopter fly at 1,000 feet and dangle technician from a rope so that he could get a better angle and so improved photos. Alas, that bit never happened. Damn pesky health and safety. /s. The flight took place with the technician inside the helicopter and many cameras were used, some internal and some externally mounted. Afterwards, analysis of the photos showed that the images of the wall were too poor quality to accurately determine how poor condition the garden face of the wall was. So we will have to keep trying the old-fashioned posting letters and knocking on front doors method of trying to gain access. In the meantime, I just have to pray that the wall does not collapse in my lifetime, otherwise I know that I will receive a call at an inappropriate time to crawl over a pile of rubble that used to be the wall to try and get the $big expensive part up and running or replaced while being shouted at by management about system downtime. Thank you. Next. This is an update for the post of the lady who did now know about Ctrl+C/V. You can read that story here. https://www.reddit.com/r/TalesFromTechSupport/comments/copsimp/can't even understand CTRLCV/. People wanted to know what happened with number, so here it goes. Background. A few years ago, I used to work for one of the big 4 accounting companies as an on-site tech support along with a co-worker and our supervisor. When the company opened a new office location, my co-worker changed to the new office to train the new guys, and we will speak daily over the phone about what was happening on each location. In one of those calls he told me about a manager. So, my co-worker would tell me about different things that number would try to pull on everybody just because she was a manager. Very important note, she was the manager for the ethics and compliance team, having around 10 employees report directly to her. She was the stereotype of the Karens. If she asked for something and she had to wait to receive assistance from many of us, she will just stand right behind you watching you and ask number, what are you doing right now? Number, and now? Number, would you be able to assist me right now? Number, what is so important that you cannot help me? I am a manager, you know? And one of my favorites when she needed our help precisely at 1 PM for some reason and I responded to her, we will not be available to assist you at that time as we have to provide training to almost 80 new joiners to the office. If you are free after 1 PM we can assist, or we can even provide you with assistance right now. Number, Okay, thanks, I'll see you at 1 p.m. Me, like I said, we cannot go there at 1 p.m. Number, you know that I will your manager know about your attitude to have this be on your performance review. We would mostly ignore her and most of the times that did the trick. But we were also friends with some of the guys working from here, so we would hear things like that she would have her employees write the emails for her that she would later send. If you were a woman, she would treat unfairly compared to your male counterparts. Like she would ask one of the ladies to write one of her emails and would go, "Number, how did you even get a job in here if you do not know how to write something so simple and basic?" So she goes to one of the men of the team and asks Number, "Hey man, did you review these before the lady I asked her sent me the email?" Male employee, "Yeah, I did. I did not find anything wrong." Number, "Okay, then it is good." Well, to cut the story short, after many things just like that, I had the manager in my sight. I just needed a reason. And one day she comes to my office, asks for something stupid, and I say, "Okay, I will finish to write an email and I will go by your desk. It shouldn't take longer than 5 minutes." But instead of leaving, she just stands there beside me, looking at me with dead eyes, trying to intimidate me. So I ignored her. But before leaving the office, she decides to accidentally step on my feet with the heels of her shoes. And that was it. I went to HR. This was on a Wednesday. I go to HR, I say I would like to submit a formal report against manager. I later found out that she had multiple complaints reported by her employees. But I guess HR waited to receive a complaint from somebody outside of the team to see if things were as bad as they have been told. So, on Friday of that very same week, I received a call from the HR partner. One of my responsibilities as IT was to assist on the termination process of employees, disable the accounts, grab the laptop, etc. So the HR partner tell me page 42, "Could you please go to the meeting room 3? At that point I didn't know what was happening, but when I entered the room and I see manager and the table crying, and I can still remember the taste of those tears. The taste of victory, of karma. I knew exactly that she was being fired. That goes to show that eventually, Karens who threaten to put you in trouble, will eventually get in more trouble than they bargained for. TL. Doctor, Karen tries to intimidate me with her dead eyes stare, gets fired instead. Thank you. Next. This is a rant. Happened just now, so venting out the frustration on Reddit. I work for application support in a fairly large healthcare company. Our clients are hospitals which treat the most dreadful disease out there. So one of such hospitals have an application issue, so we asked the customer yesterday for downtime. The primary contact for this site gave us 6 p.m. 7 p.m. today as the approved window. Having had some wisdom from working for long in IT support, I proactively asked the primary contact if there are any additional people/email distrust to be notified of this downtime and asked her to include them in the communication. She did add a couple of email DL and physicists. Fast forward to today 6 p.m. I send out a mail notifying the start of maintenance and log into their systems. Lo and behold, I see many users still active and working on the system. I think to myself, they must be wrapping up their work and logging off. Let's give them 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, instead of users logging off, the number of users has gone up. I send out another mail informing that I am still seeing active users on the systems. How long I have to wait before I can start working? This mail seemed to have dropped like a stone in a puddle because I see a hurried reply from one of the users asking 2 other users. I just read the following mail. Who was working yesterday when we were notified that $IT support would be working on the system? Apparently nobody else apart from the primary contact had bothered to read emails and were blissfully unaware of any activity that was scheduled today. Mind you, the end users of this systems are senior physicists with masters and PhDs. The maintenance today is cancelled and we have to get a new window now. So much for advance notification. Why don't people read their mails? Thank you. Next. Hello everyone. I recently started a job in the faults department at one of the ISPs in my country. It's around 11:40 a.m. and a call drops in. You've reached company. This is Old Matuhari from NBN Faults. How can I help? Hello, I'm trying to log into my account. Can you tell me my password? Alright, is this your company account? Yes. Okay, and what are you using to log into your company account? Oh no, I can't log into my laptop. Can you tell me the password? Brain. Eggs is not responding. Why you would call your ISP for help logging into your laptop? Eventually I told her to get onto a local IT professional. Please save me from this hell. Thank you. Next. I work internal tech support, calls and chats, for a large company. I got this call tonight. Me. Tech support, this is laterally Hitler. How can I help you? User. I changed my password on Friday, and my account is locked. Me. Checks account status, I see that it's not locked. User. But it says locked at the top. Me. Fasipum. Me. That's the lock screen. It doesn't mean your account is locked. You should be able to just log in. User. I tried that earlier and it didn't work. Me. Thinking it could be a credential caching issue considering the recent password change, try your old password. User. That didn't work either. I'll try my new one again. User. It worked. I had just switched one of the letters with one of the numbers all along. Me. Headisk. Thank you. Next. This took place in early mid 2018. I work for a company that outsources tech support to other companies. Before my promotion I was in the department contracted out a particular ISP central division for their wireless gateway tier 2 department. Before it all became just tier, and at the time we were taking regular calls on top of escalation calls. I get a call from a woman and this is how it goes. Note, CX equals customer. Me. Thank you for choosing ISP. How may I help you? CX. My internet ain't working. Me. I'm very sorry to hear that. Let me just pull up your ACC. Cuts me off. CX. There's no power. Me. I'm sorry? There's no power? CX. Yeah, in the building. Me. Pauses for a stretch of time as my mind is trying to grasp stupidity. Oh okay. CX. There's now power. Said a little more loudly. Me. Right. Pauses again, you need power for it to work. At this point the caller went quiet and I could hear her muttering to someone in the background, it needs power for it to work. CX. Well, there ain't no power.